Hello everyone. We are the students of Dhirubhai Ambani Institute of Information and Communication Technology. We are currently enrolled in our sixth semester, pursuing IT 415, which is a technical elective software testing and quality analysis. So we guys have been taking programming courses right from when we started college, and we are experienced programmers in Java. Like we've been practicing Java for the past 2 years. We're making this video as part of a project work under the able guidance of Professor Saurabh Tiwari. So yeah, we are a group of three members: Rohan Agarwal, Rishabh Singla, and Dhruv Bhutani. So yeah, basically what we're dealing with is testing. So a bit of background information. Testing is basically the process of evaluating a system or its components with the intent to find whether it satisfies the specified requirements or not. That is the textbook definition. Testing is executing a system in order to identify any gaps, errors, or missing requirements in contrary to the actual requirements. So testing is an important part in software engineering. In any software engineering project, once you complete your coding phase, it has to be tested for errors, and there are various tools, open source tools available for automated testing. And in this video, we are going to demonstrate uh, one of the complete tools that we feel, that is TestNG. So what is TestNG? TestNG, as stated earlier, is an open source automated testing framework where NG means next generation. Yeah, the creator is Cedric Bust. It was developed on the lines of JUnit and NUnit, and it introduced various new functionalities that made it more powerful and easy to use, especially with respect to integration testing. So yeah, TestNG is designed to cover all categories of test: unit testing, where you test every module; functional testing, where you're going to test every function, as we'll be showing you in the code as we go further in the video; integration testing, which is when you combine all your modules and test the whole system. So it is basically used to test an enterprise level application and to deliver it with robustness and reliability. Yeah, which is basically what any test application would do. So TestNG is supported via various plugins. We'll be demonstrating it using Eclipse. Apart from that, IntelliJ, IDEA, and NetBeans, as well as any other build automation tools, also support TestNG. So yeah, now moving on to the prerequisites. We don't have prerequisites as such. It's just that a basic understanding of the Java programming language would be required, as our code would be in Java. Basic knowledge of text editor, how to use it, and uh, execution of programs is required. We feel that as we've come to the testing stage, everybody will be well versed in these things. So yeah, TestNG is used to handle all levels of Java project testing. So it will be helpful to have prior knowledge of software development. Um, so basic terms like unit testing, integration testing. If you have knowledge of that, it'll obviously be a benefit. But don't get bogged down by these small prerequisites, as we'll be teaching everything from scratch. We'll be demonstrating the tool, right from installing it, setting it up in the Eclipse framework, to executing unit testing, and eventually graphical user interface, GUI testing. So yeah, so moving on to the installation part. uh, First, what you need to do is open Eclipse. So I'll be opening that. So yeah, I've opened Eclipse. My version is Kepler. Eclipse opening. Okay, this is taking some time. So yeah, what you need to do is go into the help menu once Eclipse is open. Okay, we'll wait as my Eclipse is uh, loading. Yeah, so finally it has loaded. So what you need to do is go to the help option, and there'll be an option of install new software. So click on that. You'll find this screen, this dialog box appearing. In this work with field, uh, you'll have to enter this http://views.com. We'll post the link in the description of this video, so you can copy from that. I'll be doing that directly. Okay, there's some error. So yeah, that error was basically because my internet I didn't have internet connection, so I should get sort of that sort of error. So you know the problem. So connect to the internet and then proceed further. So yeah, I'll do that. Once I do that, test ng will be displayed over here in this dialog box. Um, put a check mark in front of this. You'll find two versions. We'll recommend that you install both of them. Once you do that, click on the next button, and so your installation will begin. So this will take 5 minutes. I already have TestNG installed. 5 to 10 minutes it will take. So for me it will just upgrade. So once the installation finishes, there will be a dialog box that you will need to restart Eclipse for the changes to take place. So you can do that, and once that is completed, uh, you have TestNG installed. So yeah, now our installation of TestNG in the Eclipse framework is complete. So basically moving back to the features of TestNG, what TestNG is and what it supports. Uh, One of the major features of TestNG is that it supports annotations. Uh, don't get confused. It's something that once we move into explaining while we're coding, you'll get a deeper sense of it, and it'll be more clear. TestNG uses Java and object-oriented features. It supports a testing integrated class, uh, so you don't need to create a new test class instance for every test method that you create. uh, by default it's created. Major feature is that it introduces test groups, uh, which is a new feature and which we'll be showing you as we proceed with an example uh, uh, sometime. Once you have compiled your test, you can just ask TestNG to run all the front end tests as well as fast load database tests. Don't get bogged down, we'll be showing you everything via a coded example. It supports dependent test methods, parallel testing, load testing, and partial failure. So, moving ahead, we'll be showing you a coded example.
For the demonstration of the code, we'll be using a sample project which we will be testing using TestNG. The sample project being used is an implementation of binary tree. Also note you can find the source code that we'll be discussing in this video and the source code to the sample project in the description below the video. So do check it out. Now I'm going to my Eclipse, and here you can see I've already imported my project. This is a sample project, and now we'll be looking at these classes. This binary tree has the main method, and this basically provides the UI for the addition of elements in the tree and stuff. And then next we have this BT node. This provides the implementation for nodes of the trees, the left, right, and the data that is contained in the nodes. And these are the methods for the tree, like the insert method. Here we have the insert method, the isEmpty method, and the search method to search for a particular element, and the tree traversals methods, the in-order traversal, the pre-order traversal, and the post-order traversal. Mainly we'll be testing these methods through TestNG. Now I'll first show you how this program runs. Now I'll run this binary project, and this is the console that comes up. Here you can insert elements. You press 1 to insert elements, and I insert an element. It continuously shows me the post order, pre-order, and order traversal of these trees. This I want to continue. Then I can again insert elements. So it keeps on telling me the traversals for the tree, and it's just like this. I can search for a particular element, like I've entered 6, so I'll search for 6, and its search result comes out to be true. So this is the basic project we'll be testing. So now that we've had an overview of the project, let's dive into testing. TestNG uses the annotations framework. It only recognizes or runs with annotations. Annotations are used with an @ symbol in code. The most important annotation in the TestNG framework is the @test annotation. It tells us that this method is a part of the test and should be executed when running the test case. To get a better feel for it, let's dive into code. The TestNG add-on for Eclipse makes it extremely easy to make test classes. You need to identify the class of and the methods for which you want to test. And now here we'll be testing the pre-order and the traversal methods of the BT class. So I'll right click on it, go to TestNG and create a TestNG class. Now this lists me all the methods in the class. I can create test methods for any of these methods. So I'll be creating test method for post order for now. Next, and this is the package name. This is where all my test classes will go. So I'll put it as TestNG, and it should be in source and then TestNG. So source TestNG, and the class name you can give any class name. So I'll be giving post order test, and these are the annotations. We can select these annotations which we want to implement. So I'll be implementing before method, after method, before class, after class, before test, and after test. And before suit and after suit I'll explain you later when I've explained you what a suit is. I'll leave this blank for now. I'll explain it later. So now I click on finish, and as you can see Eclipse has already created a post order test class for me automatically. Now all these errors are because I've not imported the TestNG library into my project. So I can just click over here and add TestNG library. And as you can see, now all my errors are gone. Now these are what annotations are. These tell what this method is about. Add before method, add after method. These are automatically generated stubs which the Eclipse has automatically generated for me. And this is the test method. This is the @test annotation which tells us that this is a test method. So I asked Eclipse to make a test method for post order, so it's made it a stub method for me. It's just throws a runtime exception. So now let's run and see what happens when we run this automatically generated test class. As we can see in this test method, we've thrown a runtime exception, so this test should obviously fail. So now to run this test case, you don't have to do anything extraordinary. You just right click on this class and then run as and then TestNG test. And this is running over here. And this is the console that pops up, and it tells me all the details of the test case, what has happened when running this test case, and as we can see, this test has failed, and the reason for it is runtime exception. It is not implementation, as we have thrown over here. And further we can see it tells me the number of tests it ran and number of failures and how many tests it skipped. So one thing to note over here is that uh, when we're running a test class, all the methods in the test class that are annotated with the @test method, @test annotation, will be run in the test case. So if I had two methods over here with @test annotations, the number of test runs would have been 2. So another thing to note is the TestNG result console. This tells me in more detail what has happened. So as we can see that the total time it took to run this test is 0.023 seconds, and that is for the post order test method. And then it tells me all the details as well of why the test failed. So here I can get the summary of failed test and the basic summary of everything. So this is so up till now we've looked at the TestNG framework, but we've not really tested anything. So we need to test the post order traversal method. So first we need to look at what the implementation of this method is. So we'll go to vt.java where this method is, and this is the method that we want to test. So as we can see, this method returns an array list of integer. So looking at its implementation, we see that it basically what it does is it arranges the nodes in the post order traversal order and then creates an array list and adds them accordingly and then returns this array list. So to test this method, what we could do is we could create a tree object and then add elements to that tree and then apply in order traversal on this tree, apply this that post order traversal method on that tree, and we can manually create an array list where we manually add the elements which should which should come as in post order traversal, and then compare those array lists. If those array lists are same, then a method is correct and it gives the correct post order traversal, or else it is wrong. So let's write the code for it over here. I'll change this method name to test post order for better understanding, and then I'll delete this throw new runtime exception. So now we'll be implementing the test. So now what I need to do is firstly create a tree object. BT, I need to import this, import BT. Tree is equal to new BT, and then I'm gonna add elements to this tree. I'm gonna insert, and then I could add 1, and then I'll add another element to it, insert 2, then I'm gonna insert 3. I'll just create a easy test case, insert 4. Now I've got a tree with 4 elements inserted in it, and next I'll create an array list of integers. That is what the post order traversal method returns. So traversal, I'll give it a name, traversal, any name, is equal to new array list, and I'll need to import array list, and then now the post order traversal for these elements would be 4321. So I'll add them manually in the list. Add 4, add 3, and then I'll add 2, traversal dot add, sorry, traversal dot add 1. Now I'm gonna use assert. What assert is it's got methods for assert equals. It's part of the TestNG framework, and what it does is compares two objects, and if the two objects are not equal, it throws an exception, making the test method fail. So I'll say assert equals, the actual value is the tree object dot that post order traversal, and I need to pass the root element of this tree. So tree dot root. I'll pass this, and the expected value, that is the manual array list that we created, and that is traversal. So this is what a test method looks like. So basically we created a tree object, inserted 4 elements into it, and then we manually put 4 elements into an array list according to the post order traversal for the tree which we created over here. And then we are comparing whether these two array lists are equivalent. We call this post order traversal, which returns an array list of integer, and we're then asserting that these should be equals. If these are equal, then a test method will pass, and a method test post and a post order traversal method is working, else it fails. So now let's run this test class and see the result. Run as test ng test, and we see that it has failed. So we see that it there, so we can see the details over here, and the test failed due to a null pointer exception. And so the total test run was 1, failures were 1. And one thing more which I forgot to mention before is that testng creates reports, more detailed reports. Like here what we see in console is just the basic things, and over here as well. So testng generates more detailed report, and for that it automatically creates a testng output. We'll have to refresh this source. We'll have to refresh the project, and you see this is the folder that is created by testng, and this is the test output. And over here we have this emailable report. This is the main main file that we have to look at, and when you open it, it gives all the details about what the test cases were and what happened with all those test cases. So the time it took, at what time in milliseconds it started, what the test was, and it tells that the status of the test, that it failed, and all the details about and when we click on this test post order, it takes us what the error was, and as we can see, the error was null pointer exception, and it at the post order traversal vt.java 183 at the 183rd line. So there's obviously some error in this code, so we need to figure it out. So to resolve the error, let's look at the vt.java class and the post order traversal method. Here it says in the 183rd line there is an error. So when looking at this line here, we see it says if current left is equal to null, then we stack.push current.left. So there's obviously an error over here because we're trying to push a null object to the stack, so it would obviously give us a null pointer exception. So this statement should be if current left is not equal to null. So let's see if this resolves our error. We'll save this class, and now we'll again run this test. So we'll right click this test class, run as testng test. So, and as we can see now, our test has successfully passed test post order. And in the emailable report, let's see the emailable report, what it says. And now it's green and it says it has passed. The time it took was 66 milliseconds. So this is how we unit test these methods. So now let's add some more methods to this class, and we can do the same thing again. We can but now we'll insert different elements into the tree, so we can have different test cases for this method. So here I'm not going to be wasting time writing all the test methods again, all the cases again. So I've already created this test class, post order test with Java, and as you can see here, I'll explain these methods to you later. And as you can see, I've got post order 1, post order 2, and post order 3. I'll explain what this group is and later. And as you can see, we've got different elements inserted into the trees, and we've got different test cases for the same method. So now let's try and run this test. So right click on it, testng test, and it's running on the background. And as we can see here, so the total test run here was 3, as I explained before, that here there are 3 methods with the add test annotation. So total number of test run was 3. There were 0 failures, so all the test cases passed and none of the test cases were skipped. And there's these things are all as well printed in the console here. As I said, I'll explain these things. That these are because of the add before methods that we've created over here. These are printing lines to the console. I'll explain the flow. These basically annotations are for the flow of the program and for initializing things before we run the test methods. I'll explain in more detail later. Now, but first let's look at the emailable report as well. And here, as we can see, all the 3 test cases have passed, all are green, and everything is fine. So our method is now working fine, and we can generate even more test cases so to automate the test, and then we can run these test cases to automate the testing process. So now let's move to what these methods are. And one thing more which I forgot to explain is over here is that I've created a test object, a variable for the class as well. So now because I've got to create this test object in every method before every method, so instead of creating a test object in every method, creating a variable in every method, I've created a class method. This works basically just like a normal Java class. Here I've created a class variable, and then I'm using this class variable every time in all the methods. So, and one thing more over here is the add before method annotation. So what this does is when we are running a test case, so when we are running this method is always called before we run a test method. So before we run this test method of post order, this method will automatically get called. So before method, what we are doing is I print out this that we are starting test method, and we initialize the test object, the class variable over here. So for each method like this, the post order 2, before these tests are run, this method will automatically be called add before method test object. So here it is automatically initialized before every test method, and this after method is exactly the same, but it is called after the test method has been executed. So when the post order has finished executing, the after method the method with at after method annotation will be run. Also note that it is not compulsory to name the method same as the annotation. So here this is because Eclipse has automatically generated these methods and it's given them these names. You can have any name over here. So next we move to the add before class and add after class annotations. So this post order test is basically a test class, and the methods and this before class method will be run before any test method of this class is executed. So the main use of this method is to initialize a variable which may be used by all the test classes, like a connection to the SQL database or something. So I do not need anything over here like that over here, so I'm just printing out a message that we are starting execution of test method of the post order test class. And similarly, after class is called when all the test methods of this class have finished executed. So here you can do stuff like cleaning up memory, or like closing a database connection. I'm not doing anything over here, so I'll just print out a message. And so now we can have a look at how those methods were being printed to the console. So I'll just run this as testng test, and so uh, sorry I sorry I run the wrong test. So over here, as you can see, so the first method that should be called when executing this test class is the before class method, and it should print out starting execution of test methods of the post order test class. This is what we see here, and then these methods will be executed in order: add test, post order 2, and then post order 3. But before these methods are called, we'll have the post before method call. So the before method call says starting test method initializing tree object, as we can see here for the first post order method, and then we executed the test method, and then we call the after, then the after method is called, and it says finished method. And similarly for post order 2, it calls the before method, and then after executing the post order method 2, it calls the after method, and similarly for post order 3. And now because we've got just 3 test methods in this class, we are done with this test class, and we call the after, and the after class method is automatically called, and it says finished execution of test methods of post order class. So this is the very basic flow in TestNG. So these methods, so as we discussed, these methods are mainly important for initialization and just logging, maybe logging, but main uses for initialization of variables which may be used in the test class. So as we used for the test object over here. And let's move to our presentation now. So these are the add before method and add after method annotations. We've already discussed them in code, so I'll skip them here. And similarly, these are the add before class and add after class annotations. I'll again skip them. So previously in this video, I did not explain what add before suits and add after suit annotations were, because I had to explain suits. So what basically is a suit? In TestNG, you can combine different test classes. Up till now, we've looked at just running a single test class and running the test methods of that class. But but we can combine different test classes and run them as a suit. So in TestNG, there is an XML where you can define a suit. So like here we have a sample XML. Here this is the basic uh, this is the basic structure of the XML file. First we have the suit tag, and in that suit tag we have test tag. There can be multiple tests in a suit. And then we have this classes tag. Here we define all the classes that we have to test, and the methods of these classes will be run in the test. So to look into more details, let's jump into code. So creating this XML is very easy with the add-on. You just need to right click on your test class, right click on post order test, and then you go to testng, and then you convert it to testng. So this gives me a basic provides me a basic structure for the XML file. Over here you can give the suit any name. So right now I'll give it a post order suit, and then so it automatically changes the name over here. And this is the test name. We can give it any name, so I'll give it post test. And this is a parallel mode. Here you can have multiple threads. So like here you'll be defining different classes that you want to test. So you can test multiple classes in parallel. So you can select a parallel method for, so it defines, you can have methods parallelly running, the classes parallelly running, or tests parallelly running. And thread count gets the number of threads that will be running these tests. So for now I'll be setting them to none, and then I go to next, and this is just, so I'll finish it. And as you can see, it automatically creates over here testng file, testng.xml. So now I can directly run this test suite by right clicking on this XML file. So here in this class I've written test.postOrderTest, so all the test methods of this class will be run. So in our post order test class, we have 3 test methods, so these should be automatically run. So I'll right click on this XML file, and then I'll run as testng suite. I'll have to save this file. Okay. And there's some error over here. Let's look at what the error is. It says it cannot pass the XML file. Okay, this error is because of this value none. It should not be none. Eclipse sets as none by default, but it should be false. So I'll again run it. Okay, save it, and now it is running test ng methods. So see, we have total test run are 3, and there are 0 failures, and these test methods are all from the post order class, post order test method class. See the starting execution of test methods of post order test class. So this is what a suit is. So you can make these suits more complex. You can have different classes. Like here in this, I've already created this pre-order test class. This is same as what we did in post order. Here they have add before methods, add before class methods, and there are three pre-order test methods: pre-order 2, and pre-order 3. It's very similar to what we did in post order. And then I've created another search test class. What this test class searches is test class test is for the search method of the BT class. So I've created three test methods in this class as well: test search 2, and test search 3. So I'm just the search method returns a boolean value of true or false if the element is present in the tree. So I'm just asserting that it should be equal to, so depending on the case. So now to see more complex suits, I've created these suits before. So this is the traversal suit, and this is complete test suit I've created before. So this is I'll open the complete test suit, and in this complete test suit, I've made two test cases: the traversal test and the search test. This suit tests all the methods of all the test classes that I've created. That is the pre-order test, the post-order test, and the search test. So I've given this a complete test suit name. The traversal test is traversal test and the search test, and I've defined the classes in those tests which need to be run. So I'll be running this test suit. So now we can see that in our pre-order test there are three test methods, and in post-order test there are three test methods, and in search test as well there are total three test methods. So on running this test suit, there should be a total of nine tests should run. So now I'll just right click on this and then run as test in gsuit. So let's look at the report over here. So it says total test run were 9. So that is what we calculated, and there was one failure. So let's look at the emailable report. So here we see that the search test one failed. So this is over here. We can click over here, and it says that assertion failed. So let's look at what our search test method was, and it is test search 2. So it says now in this method we've inserted 4, 2, 5, 1, 6, 10, and 3, and then we are asserting that we search for the element 5 that we've inserted, and we are saying that it should be false. That means that search should result false. So this is actually wrong, because 5 is already present in the tree, and this method will return true, and we are asserting, so assertion fails. So this is why this method is failing. So this should fail. So now that we know what a suit and tests are, let's jump to some annotations. So the annotation we need to discuss are add before test, add after test, add before suit, and add after suit. So at the methods annotated with add before suit annotation will be called before any test method, any test class of that suit is run. So this here we are currently in search test. So we are just here printing a message that we are initializing before the running suit, and then an after suit similarly is called after all the test method of all the classes in the suit are run. So it just prints out terminated suit, and then these are the before test and after test annotations. So the method with annotated with before test is run before the so we've seen that a test class belongs to a test. So this method will be called before any class of that test is run. So this method will be called now in our complete test suit. The search test belongs to this test. Search test class belongs to this test. So this method, the before test method, will be called before test method will be called before the test methods of this search test class are run. So to see how this works, to see the flow, let's again run this test suit. Run as test ng suit. So we look at the statements that have been printed. So this is initialization before running the suit. So we defined it in a search test class. So this is the same that is printed. So this is called only once before this entire suit is run, and then we start. These are the method. These are the print statements of the pre-order test class. So then these test methods of the pre-order test class are run. Then we are finished with the execution of the pre-order test class. So this test class has been finished. So now we move to this test class, post order test class, and then we print starting execution of test methods. So these are automatically getting called according to the flow. So first is the suit, then is the test, and then are the test methods of that test class. So then the methods of the next test class, and then move to the search test. So in the search test class we defined add before test method. So and it said initialization before running test. So this method is printed over here. So and then we start the execution of the methods of test search test class. So these methods are then executed, and so then we finish with the execution of search test class. And then this is the terminated test that we defined in at after test in search test class, and this is the terminated suit which we said at after suit annotation. So now we'll be looking at another suit XML. This is the traversal suit I've created, and before we can understand this XML, we first need to look what groups are in TestNG. So I'll move to my post order test class, and here, as you can see, in my post order 3, I've defined this group. I've annotated this test group with traversal name, and similarly in pre-order test, I've given this method the same group traversal. So how this helps me is that when I need, right now I'm just running test methods of one class sequentially, but when I need to group test methods of different classes, like over here I need to group the methods of post order test class and the pre order test class. So I give them the same group traversal, and now in my traversal suit, in this suit, what I can do is I can in this test I can have methods only run according to the groups. So I define the group and I say that only include those methods which have the group name traversal, and this classes tells me from which classes do I need to take these methods: pre-order test and post-order test. So I've only annotated one method each from the pre-order test class and post-order test class with the traversal group, so only two methods should be running. So I'll run this traversal suit now. We can look at the results over here. So the total test runs were 2, and there were 0 failures. Also note that there are no statements printed here. This is because that we printed statements in the add before method and add before class methods, and these are not called when we are running tests by groups, because we run tests by groups over here, so these methods are not called. So to overcome this, we've got add before group annotation, which can be used to initialize variables before running tests in a group. So we'll now look at the emailable report as well. And here we can see that the post order 3 test method was executed and the pre-order 3 test method was executed because these both belong to the traversal group. So now we've looked at what suits are, what tests are, and what classes are in TestNG. So let's move to the presentation now. These are the add before test and add after test annotations. We've discussed them in code, so I'll skip them here. And similarly, these are the add before suit and add after suit annotations. So now we'll be discussing parameters in the add test annotation, and Dhruv will explain these to you.
Now I'm going to talk about what are the various parameters of @test annotation and what functions do they serve. The always run parameter, if set to true, will always be run even if it depends on a method that has previously failed. The enabled parameter, if for a test method the enabled parameter is set to false, the particular test method will not be run. Such a test case is also known as an ignored test. Accepted exceptions parameter. It will always contain the list of exceptions that a test method is expected to throw. If no exception or a different exception is thrown, the test will be marked as a failure. The groups parameter. Test method can be organized into groups. The invocation count is the number of times you want a particular test method to run. The priority parameter. Priority can be assigned to test methods. The test method with lowest priority will be run first. The timeout parameter. This is the maximum time in milliseconds that a test should take. If it exceeds the threshold value, a failure would occur. Now I'm going to explain what the various parameters with the help of a demonstration. Now I'll create a dummy method to demonstrate the enable parameter. This is a test method, so I'll have to write the @test annotation. In this method, I'm writing assert equals true comma false. Now this test method should fail as the expected value true is not equal to the actual value false. Now I'm gonna run this test class. It shows that 4 test cases are run and 1 has failed. We'll now see the emailable report to check which one has failed. The test enabled parameter has failed as it was expected to. Now I'll add the enabled parameter to this test method. And I'll run this test class again. Only 3 test cases have been run and none of them have failed. Now we'll see the emailed report to check which are the test cases which are run. As it is evident here, the test enabled parameter test method has not been run. Now we'll be adding priority parameter to test methods to make them run in a sequential order. So I have assigned priority 0 to test pre-order and priority 1 to test pre-order 2. So when I'll run this test method, test pre-order will run before test pre-order 2. This can be seen by going to the report section. Now we'll see how to use the timeout parameter. Now I have already created a dummy method in pre-order test class. This is the dummy method. This test should fail, and this indicates the 5000 indicates that if the time to run this test case exceeds 5000 milliseconds, it will give an error. So now I'll run this test class. Okay, so 4 tests have run and 1 has failed. So we'll go to the reports now. This test has failed. As you can see, there's a while loop here which runs for infinite time, so this gives an error. Okay, so for now I'll just comment this method and uncomment this one. This method is used to demonstrate that how we can add expected exceptions to our test methods. So as you can see that this if expected exceptions parameter is not added, this method will give an error as we are dividing a number by 0. So but now that you have added arithmetic exception, so this will not give an error. So I'll just run this class. Four tests have run and 0 failed. Okay, so let me also make this method give an error. So now that I have removed that exception, so this method will give an error. See, 4 tests have run, 1 has failed, and to see the reason behind its failure, you have to go to the report, click on this division with 0. So here it shows arithmetic exception division by 0.
We'll now look at how we can perform GUI testing with TestNG. There are some prerequisites that we need to download and install. One is the Selenium library and other is the Chrome driver. You can find both of these at the Selenium website. These library provides the methods that we'll be using in our test, and this driver allows us to run Java code on the Chrome application. There are drivers available for Firefox as well, and you can use them, but we'll be using Chrome over here. So now I'll be jumping to code, and this is a test class I've already created for testing the GUI, and I've added this library to my project. You can do this by right clicking on the project, go to build path, and add external archives. Then you select the file that you've downloaded. This is the library, and then you open it. So I've already added, so it will not be added. So now we'll look at code. The first, let's look at the site we'll be testing. The site we'll be testing is this. This is a captive portal, login portal for our college. And now when looking at the code, that now this file, a new file is the Chrome driver file that we've downloaded. I put it in my Eve. So you need to specify the path to the Chrome driver. Oh, and so I've specified the file and you set the property, it's webdriver.chrome.driver. This depends on the driver you're using. This should, if this is Firefox here, it will be Firefox and file.get absolute path, and then we open this Chrome driver. So now this driver.get method opens the URL that we tell it to open, and this is the URL for our website. So now moving ahead, this is when, so the page returns in title. So our expected title is this, and our actual title is the one we get from the driver, and we get it by using driver.getTitle, and we compare both of them. So we are checking that the page is rendering correctly over here. So if the expected title is similar to the actual, is equal to the actual title, then our test passes, or else it will fail and it will stop. The driver will stop over there as well only. So now there are elements in this in WebDriver in Selenium. So we can create web elements, and we can find elements. We've opened this page and we can find elements in page. We can find elements by name, by ID. So a username, we are finding this username element, and this is this text box field of our site. This is the text field that we are finding in that driver, and you can find these username and IDs by inspecting elements. So you click over here and then you inspect the element, and it will tell you. So here is the name is username. We're finding this in our code. Now we are now clearing this text field username.clear, and then we send the keys. We send the ID that we want to uh, put in the text box. So this will automatically, when I'll show you when I run this code, it will automatically put these values in the text box. So moving down, there's this now another element, web element password, and this is this field over here. So we are finding this again by name, and we name it as password. We clear it, and then we send the password. I'm not writing the password over here. So now the next element we are finding is the sign in button, and this is this button, login button over here, and we're finding it by name button.submit. You can find all these names again by inspecting the element. So, and then we perform. So this is a web element. We can perform clicks on web elements, and we are performing this sign in button dot click. These all methods are provided by the Selenium server standalone library. So now I'll run this test. Save it. This, oh, yes. Okay, I need to add the package declaration test. And then I need to save this thing. So it's running in background. It opens the Chrome driver, and as you can see, it's opened the Chrome app. It's not your default Chrome application, but it's the Chrome WebDriver provided by Selenium, and it opens the site. And you see, it entered the ID by itself, and the password entered was just asterisk. It was not correct. So when I clicked on the login button, it says the system could not log you on, and make sure your password is correct. So this is basically how you can test websites GUI using Selenium. So you can find elements and you can open web pages using this WebDriver, and then you can find elements, you can click on them, you can add fields to it, and this is how GUI testing works in TestNG.
So by now we looked at the binary tree example, and with the help of it we discussed what TestNG is, how the program is tested. We looked at classes, suits, and tests. We looked at unit testing using TestNG. We also discussed uh, graphical user interface GUI testing using the Selenium WebDriver. So yeah, now coming back to the theoretical aspects. Uh, why do we use TestNG? What are the advantages? As you've seen that it allowed easy generation of HTML report. So hence there is better reporting. There is, you can look what is happening. Also you can do parallel testing. Annotations, which we look, uh, they help us to set the function priority easy. You can group test cases as it was done earlier by name. There are multiple before and after annotation options. You can also set test case priorities, which we did using at the test method and its parameters. Also integration testing was quite intuitive and easy to use, and parameterization of test methods was also done. So as we discussed earlier, TestNG was developed over JUnit, and so why nowadays TestNG is preferred over JUnit? Annotations are pretty easier to understand. Uh, Test cases, which is a major feature, it is very beneficial. Test cases can be grouped easily, and also, as it was discussed earlier, parallel testing is possible. Yeah. Now coming back to the drawbacks, as such, there are no drawbacks that we found. Apart from that uh, some IDEs and tools do not provide proper integration of uh, testing using TestNG. The older Eclipse versions, that is lower than 4.2, it's incapable of installation of TestNG. Yeah. Another feature, which is not exactly a drawback but a confusing one, is that TestNG generates temporary XML files on each run, apart from the fact that there are multiple annotations. So individual files are generated, which might be confusing, but that is not considered a drawback. Also, there is not much community support documentation. So yeah, once it gains popularity, we feel that this will be the tool for testing, as it makes testing very convenient and easy to do. So yeah, we finally come to the end of the video. It was a pleasure explaining and demonstrating TestNG to you guys. We hope that you worked with us and uh, are now confident using TestNG. So just a general recap. Uh, we started off with a bit of background information of what TestNG is and what testing basically is, and how TestNG could be used to test our code after our development phase. Then we introduced TestNG. We didn't have prerequisites as such. Then we proceeded with installation and setting up TestNG in the Eclipse framework. Then we discussed features of TestNG, and one of the major features were that it supported annotations as well as groups. which was an advancement over JUnit. Yeah. Then we moved on to the coding part. We took binary tree example and explained how testing worked for various classes and traversals, that is in order, pre-order and post-order traversals. We moved on to the annotations part and explained the various before and after methods and one of the important annotations of at test. Then we proceeded with explaining suits, tests in class in TestNG using the XML file. Then we moved on to one of the important at test annotations and its parameters. We explained these in detail. After that, we proceeded with GUI testing using the Selenium WebDriver in TestNG. We used our captive portal, that is a login to use internet at DICT. So yeah. Then we followed it with the advantages of TestNG and how it is better. Um, and yeah, finally we moved on to why TestNG is now preferred over JUnit and how it is better, especially with respect to group tests. And then we listed some of the drawbacks, which weren't really many drawbacks. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and for any queries you can contact any of us. We have our email IDs in the description below. So I hope you enjoyed using TestNG and hope that you enjoyed working with us. So thank you, and please, if you feel that our video is worthwhile, please do like and share. Thank you.